So, we got some news today, some surprising news. Xbox has graced us with a sneaky little peek at Hiyuki and Denia gameplay. We got a tease of their liberations at the Xbox platform announcement trailer a couple days ago, but now we get a much bigger glimpse at both these characters' kits. Now, I have seen all this already. I'm not currently of the mind that I could save everything for content. Maybe I'll get there someday. So you won't get a live candid reaction video. That said, there are some things worth talking about, so let's yap. The big question for me is, does this gameplay look sell me on either of these characters? Does it make me want to pull on either of these characters? And the quick answer is no, not yet. And this isn't to say that I don't think these characters look good or won't be fun to play or anything. I'm just in a position where I feel that I should be a bit more picky about who I pull for. I've got some solid teams already that could carry me through any of the normal content that I do on a regular basis. You know, I've got a Cardathea team, I've got a full Toon Break, Ameth team already. So I feel very comfortable. I feel very content with the teams I've got. And I'm sitting on a guarantee. So I just feel I should be a bit pickier about how I spend my hard-earned astrite on. Would I love to have every character in the game? You better believe it, but I'm not in a position to wail, and I don't have the time to max efficiency grind for astrite on a daily, weekly basis, so I'm gotta be a bit more careful. And so observing their gameplay from afar hasn't moved me from my perch on the fence, because I do really dig the designs of both these characters. When they were initially dripped, I gravitated immediately towards Hiyuki. Her aesthetic is one we haven't yet seen in this capacity. The closest we've gotten is Chuan, who digs deep into the traditional Chinese wuxia aesthetic, but with Hiyuki we're now getting a very traditional Japanese swordswoman aesthetic with elements from depictions of shrine maidens and samurai. I love the maturity in her design and presence, not to mention the crazy forte ability she has. And Denia also has a very striking design, being especially unique compared to the bright reds of the Fraxidus we're used to, combined with her very clear connection to Aleph 1. The aspects I'm most excited for when it comes to these two characters are their personalities, stories, lore, all of which I know I'm going to get regardless of whether I pull. And I am fully prepared to be swayed over time. There have been clear instances in the past where I thought, yeah, I'll pass on this character, only to play their trial and then pull them immediately. Chisa and Lene are both very recent examples of this. So I definitely do need to get my hands on the feel of their gameplay and witness more of their personality in the story to be knocked in any direction off my fence. I guess I was just hoping seeing their gameplay might sway me a bit more than it has. So let's dig off on what was shown today. Hiyuki has a sword install, which is something I was hoping she would have. Now, whether this works as an Augusta Liberation install or say an Chisa Enhanced E install or something else entirely, we don't know. I do love the effect on it though. The aspect ratio tightening in, the expansive snow that she leaves on the ground, and she's yet another character who can manipulate the skybox. This view in particular makes me think she's seeing Solaris as like an external being. Perhaps she takes residence on, or has at least visited, a moon that once orbited Solaris, be it the false one described in the lore or otherwise. It's definitely a very intriguing view choice to provide to the player as an altered skybox in this powered up state. I appreciate the effect work on the Liberation, as it's already greatly improved from the sneak peek we saw a couple days ago. Not to mention, I have seen screenshots of the visualizations of her forte on the breaking shards of ice at the during her liberation, and have different depictions of iterations of herself. Now, whether this is sort of a random thing that happens every time you initiate the liberation, or maybe there's certain prerequisites to get certain effects from this. Maybe it has a gameplay effect, depending on the iterations that are depicted on the ice. We don't know yet, but it is a cool little touch, even if it is just a random visualization you get. I do think I was personally expecting a bit more practical application of her crazy iteration forte. We do also see her clearly fire a bow, but that could easily just be that she's well trained in multiple martial disciplines and not just swordplay. It could also be part of her kit they're keeping under wraps to prevent story spoilers. We'll have to see. As it stands, her swordplay does look cool. It's got some nice VFX and does seemingly look pretty fun to play. It also appears very standard, especially compared to the wacky kits we've gotten recently in the High Roy characters. I'm not trying to be too harsh here, just my observations, just the feeling I get from seeing her gameplay in action. The other questions I have for Hiyuki are what her main damage type is, and what kind of team is going to form around her as the main DPS. Because she definitely appears to be a main DPS character. They could definitely lean into Glacio Chafe, but we currently don't have any character, to my knowledge, that could help apply that aside from Chisa benefiting all negative status characters. We just got a basic attack-centric character in Luke, and we have a solid suite of tune effect-centric characters so far. None of her attacks shown so far appear to be focused around something like consecutive attacks, something that Zhezha's sub-DPS buffing could really benefit. So what does that leave? Heavy attack? Maybe something simpler like raw attack scaling, or something like, say, Cardathia's HP scaling or Mornay's defense scaling. Could be something as simple as that. We also don't have any pre-existing echo sets that really give us any sort of hint as to the archetype that she will be, what kind of main damage type she'll be. Like, say, we have for Sigrika or Luke, or assumably Denia currently in the game. Maybe there's info out there I'm not privy to, but at the moment, she feels like the most unpredeterminable main DPS we've had in a long time. Perhaps Lucilla is her best in slot sub DPS? Time will tell, and I'm very curious. Lastly, Denia. Denia's personality has already won me over quite a bit. The snarky, lazy character archetype is one I'm particularly fond of, and that aspect of her definitely caught me off guard when I was playing 3.2 MSQ. She's a piece of work for manipulating Siggy the way she has, but also quite charming even while she was doing so, which is quite the feat when writing and designing a character to be likable despite those actions, so I commend that. I know the common presumption is that she's the Throdian resonator for Aleph 1, which I do think is the most plausible scenario that we have right now. But also there's the motif of hands all throughout her kit. It really makes me wonder about the nature of Aleph 1 itself, and not simply just Denia's connection to it. Every instance we've seen of Aleph so far has just been the black hole eye iconography. And now, the character we assume is the most closely connected to it thus far, we have all these hands. Is it because she, as its resonator, was the first and perhaps only one to reach out to it and not be erased? Are the hands symbolic of Aleph being able to tangibly interact with Solaris through Denia despite its entrapment from the Stratergate and Exostrider? Or is there more? Is there an actual form to the nothingness that we just haven't seen yet? Perhaps it's showing another sliver of itself beyond that black hole eye through Denia's kit. Or it could even be just a representation of Denia's story itself, because it combines that Aleph Void motif with the interlocked people papercraft that adorns her headband. Denia's a huge question mark in so many aspects, and I love it. Her being the Throdian resonator is a safe presumption, in my opinion, but even if it's true, that just adds another layer of intrigue. It just opens the door for possibilities that we may not have even considered yet. Can't wait to find out more. Gameplay-wise, we don't get much for Denia, but I am digging the effects, the design of the hands manifesting, the way she cross-cuts a gateway to allow a giant hand to slam down, and the look of the object she leaves on the battlefield. Now, based on her elements and the description of what we assume to be her best-in-slot Echo set, she appears to be a Fusion Burst sub-DPS, one that would work exceedingly well with Ameth's Fusion Burst mode that we haven't been able to take full advantage of yet. It would very easily and nicely slot her into an Ameth Chisa Denia team. That alone encourages my spot on my fence to gravitate towards her, since that would be just an easy slot in, since I already have a fairly well built Ameth and Chisa. I also really dig having an active on-field effect from a DPS after they've left, and the objects that she leaves at the end of her little gameplay snippet definitely appears that that's going to be something that'll remain on field when you switch into your main DPS. One that hopefully has a somewhat similar effect to, say, Giacona after you use her ult to go into a Cardathea. I also do believe we really only saw a portion of her kit. Now, if she is in fact just a sub DPS, then I think her kit would be relatively smaller compared to a Hiyuki, but I do think there are more cool things to show. Potentially very spoilery story stuff that could be involved with her kit, especially with her connection. All this to say, I really do like both these characters' designs, but observing their gameplay alone hasn't pushed me off the fence or into either character being fully worthy of the guarantee I'm currently hoarding. Time will tell, and getting to play them will definitely tell. 3.3 is looking mad exciting, even from these little bits of drip alone, and we haven't even gotten to the 3.2 segue yet. So I'm freaking stoked, and I look forward to enjoying the ride along with anyone who joins in. Thank you if you did tune in, and if you do any of the YouTube algorithm things, I appreciate even more. I know I'm new, I know I suck at talking, I know I'm just getting my footing here, but I'm in this for the long haul. So it's going to be a slow ride, but I really want to catalog, archive my experiences with this game, because this game feels truly worth it, and it's motivated me to do more. I don't think a game has ever really done that to this extent before, and it's this silly gacha game of all things. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Peace.